Hello, happy morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Health Abba. So today our topic is how to keep mind active. Why is it important to exercise your brain? Just like we exercise our bodies to keep it in good working order, research has shown that it is equally important to exercise our brain to keep it sharp and potentially to lower risk of developing a less functional brain. It is normal for the brain to slow down with the age. We tend to be less active physically, and this can affect our brain activity too. Therefore, in addition to doing exercise regularly and eating healthy diet for our health, keeping our brains active is also very important. Our very own psychologist Bhaktiji will give a few tips about how to keep our brains active, and then the platform forum is open for question answers, which you tend to get the doubts which are. The topic is very short, and Bhaktiji will brief about the topic first, and then it will be open to the forum. But before we dive into the actual topic, I'll request Ashuji to do the morning prayers.
थैंक यू वामसी जी. गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन. डॉक्टर के सर के चरणों में बारंबार प्रणाम. आज वैशाख शुक्ल पक्ष की द्वितीय तिथि. आइए सब मिलकर इस भजन के द्वारा प्रभु के चरणों में प्रार्थना करें. जरा तो इतना बता दो भगवन, लगन ये कैसी लगा रहे हो. मुझी में रह कर मुझी से मेरी ये खोज कैसी करा रहे हो. हृदय भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो प्रीतम. प्रेम भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो प्रेमी. पुकारता मन तुम ही को क्यों है. तुम ही जो दिल में समा रहे हो. जरा तो इतना बता दो भगवन, लगन ये कैसी लगा रहे हो. सीप भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो मोती. दीप भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो ज्योति. तुम ही को लेकर तुम ही को ढूंढूं. नहीं ये लीला बता रहे हो. जरा तो इतना बता दो भगवन, लगन ये कैसी लगा रहे हो. मन भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो रचना. संगीत तुम हो, तुम ही हो रसना. स्तुति तुम्हारी तुम ही से गाए. नहीं ये रीति चला रहे हो. जरा तो इतना बता दो भगवन, लगन ये कैसी लगा रहे हो. कर्म भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो करता. धर्म भी तुम हो, तुम ही हो धरता. निमित्त कारण हमें बनाकर ये नाच कैसा नचा रहे हो. जरा तो इतना बता दो भगवन, लगन ये कैसी लगा रहे हो. सभी हेल्थ एजुकेटर्स की लगन को बारंबार प्रणाम. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you, Ashuji. Thank you for that beautiful prayer. So let's go dive into the topic. Bhaktiji, first things first. Why is it important to keep mind active?
So, Mamsiji, I'll give a little bit of an introduction before I start answering questions. It's a misconception that as you age, your brain also becomes slow and sluggish. As you age, if you have kept your brain active, then the brain doesn't have to become slow. There are some things that you keep and you be careful of while you're younger so that your brain stays active. One of the very important things there is sleep. If you are consistently sleeping for between 7 and 8 hours a day, even at the age of 65, your brain will be active, which means your brain is getting enough rest during the night to be active during the day. A lot of senior citizens have an issue with not being able to sleep in the night. Therefore, their brain is, because you can't keep your brain shut, or you can't keep your brain completely empty. And therefore, your brain is working in the night while you're not sleeping, and during the day, it seems slow and sluggish. So that is one thing. Sleep is very important. Your diet, of course, is very important. Agar aap brain rich foods बोलते हैं उसको, जैसे nuts है, soaked nuts है, sprouts है, high protein है. These are very good. Plant-based diet is very, very important for good brain activity. Another very important thing is exercise. अगर आप exercise करते हैं, if you keep your body healthy, your brain automatically has to do less work. Right? I'll give you an example. आज मुझे diabetes है, or my brain has to constantly regulate my sugar. Right? So my brain is busy doing that. Of course, my rest of the body is also trying to regulate my sugar. My heart is doing more work. My brain is doing more work. My pancreas are doing more work. If you keep your body healthy, the brain automatically, has more energy and is more active. Another thing is to socialize. It's very, very important. ये जो senior citizens हैं, जिनको ऐसा लगता है अगर मैं slow हो गया, these are most of the time in my practice people who don't go out of the house too much, or for whatever reason, कि भाई उनकी जो health है वो permit नहीं करती है बाहर जाना, कि उनको अच्छा नहीं लगता है अभी बाहर जाना, या बाहर जाके फिर they don't want to go in the night because they're scared, things like that. So whatever the reason may be, when there's a limited social contact, the brain becomes slow. The reason being that when we are social beings, and for us to kind of interact with each other is very, very important. That is how our brain makes memories. That is how our syntaxes, जो अपने neurons होते हैं, they connect. So when we make new memories and when we make new associations, our brain works better. So to kind of prove that old age में brain activity कम नहीं हो जाता, in Amsterdam there was a experiment conducted, a longitudinal experiment. Over the years they've conducted it. They give the control of the airplane towers, towers to people who are more than 65 years of age. So 65 साल से ज़्यादा ही होते हैं. And they noticed over the years and it's a very stressful and very intense, and it involves a lot of agility, a lot of quick thinking on the job kind of a response, because it is an air tower control. And when that happens, they have noticed that जो senior citizens हैं, they are able to control the air traffic much, much better than the ones who are 40 and 50 years old. The reason being that 1, they have more experience, 2, they are more alert, and 3, they have a great sense of responsibility, right? And they have found that doing this, has also given the elderly a sense of purpose. Now that sense of purpose is a very important thing. I am being useful to people, कि मैं कुछ कर रहा हूँ मेरी जिंदगी के साथ, कि मैं retirement के साथ बाद बैठा नहीं रहा हूँ. Now this is very important for the brain. It's very important for the brain to understand, and for you to understand that if you have a purpose, if you have an aim, you have a goal, even when you are 65, 70, 80, even if that your goal is limited to आज मुझे उठ के इसके घर जाना है, that's your goal, and you keep at that goal, the brain helps you. When you leave anything, कुछ भी unused छोड़ देते हैं, उसमें जंग लग जाता है. Okay, that gets rusted. It's the same thing with your brain, and it is the same thing with the other parts of your body also. जैसे अगर आपको फ्रैक्चर हुआ है, आपने वो आर्म जो वो हाथ है बहुत दिनों तक नहीं यूज किया, then वो हाथ बहुत स्लो हो जाता है. Similarly with your brain, so there is no proof. Of course, the mental functions start slowing down, but there's no proof that says that in older age हमारा brain slow हो जाता है और active नहीं हो सकता है. Yes, Vamshi.
So what I understood is age is just a number. As long as you keep it active, and like any other organ, brain will also be active enough irrespective of the age, is what you mentioned. And you also mentioned about the importance of exercise and resting. So we often tend to minimize the importance of rest. We don't even understand the importance of resting. We feel that if the rest is taken, it is not used. So how important is resting?
Resting, sleep is very important. ये जो दोपहर की, especially people who are elderly, that afternoon nap is extremely important for the elderly and for the teenagers. That afternoon nap is extremely important. As soon as, if your brain activity during the day, if you have like a very intense mental workout during the day, or if you're stressed during the day, ये जो afternoon में 1 घंटा, आधा घंटा, 20 minutes, people, depends on people how much sleep they need, that's very important, and that rest is very important, and too much of a good thing, right? बहुत ज़्यादा किसी के साथ बात कर लिया, then your brain needs to rest. So it's important to take multiple short naps, and especially in geriatric care, we say that after every 4 or 5 hours of being actively involved, take 15 minutes of rest. Of course, night sleep that I said before, that रात की नींद बहुत ज़्यादा important है. If you have disturbed sleep, it's important that you do something about it so your brain stays active.
Thank you, Bhakti. And as you said, man is a social animal, and always wants the relationships and the talks and the work for the brain. So in terms of socializing, there will be positive inputs and negative inputs. So how to handle those things with respect to communication between the people and keep our mind positive and healthy?
So, see, this is something that you have to develop much earlier, where you try and lose judgment. You will notice that people, when they are older, 60, 65, they become a little चिड़चिड़ा, they become less patient. जो कभी गुस्सा नहीं करते थे, फिर गुस्सा करने लगते हैं. This is a part of their age, and this is a part of, it's called emotional fatigue. जैसे थक जाते हैं लोग, emotional fatigue is where people, when they are associating with others and they feel that मेरा सुन ही नहीं रहे हैं, कि मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ वो कर नहीं रहे हैं. Now, this is something that you have to train yourself, that you, even though you have experience, and I understand that a lot of elderly want to protect their children or grandchildren from making unnecessary mistakes. But Mera koi nahi sunta hai is something that I have dealt with for the longest time. That nobody listens to me. I have so much experience. Nobody gives me any respect. मैं बोलता हूँ वो करते नहीं हैं. That is something that we have to stay away from, because everybody has to live their own life and everybody has to make their own mistakes. So ये एक बहुत important चीज है that we have to do. Try and be as non-judgmental as you can. And in terms of being positive, I feel that if you have a belief in God, there you can do multiple things to make yourself feel good and positive about yourself. When you're dealing with people, you can't completely do away with negative feelings, and you can't do away with problems and confrontations in interactions. But as a elderly who has so much experience, most of the time they kind of work and they help the other people. So
now give us a few ways how we can do this, do our mind active and positive.
So try something new. That is the best thing to do. Okay, जो आपने कभी नहीं किया है, that really jogs your mind. Another thing that you can do is do puzzles. कोई भी puzzles. Start very, very small. A lot of my elderly come and do, when we do our one-on-one interaction, they do things that little children are doing, like puzzles, or they are doing Sudoku, or they are doing crossword. So we make these kind of sheets for them to be able to do that, and that kind of jogs their brain. Another thing, of course, I told you, is exercise really helps. Puzzles help. Interaction with somebody. The best interaction is with somebody is to understand their life's purpose. Okay. So suppose आज मैं वामसी जी के साथ बात कर रही हूँ, and I'm asking वामसी जी just a regular conversation. How was your life? आपने क्या किया अपनी life में? What have you learned in your life? What is your life's purpose? Okay. Abhi at this age now, what is your life's purpose? Now this kind of interaction is very, very important. It's also very engaging, because मेरे पास जो if I'm 65, I have a world of knowledge and I have a world of experience which I want to share, and sharing that is very, very important. So some things that you can do, and जैसे मैंने बोला, communicate with people, go out and socialize with people. That is also very important. But if you try something new, you will surprise yourself.
So the constant learning is the key, and it need not be a big or major. It need not be. It can be a little small thing, small gesture, which you didn't do earlier, is good enough to keep your mind active.
Bilkul. You can start with learning your some new language, or language maybe 4-5 different words. You can learn. I feel food is a multi-sensorial activity. I always get my elderly patients to do some kind of cooking. I feel it really helps them to keep themselves sharp. Doing some different kind of exercise. My father spends about 3 to 4 hours every day at the gym. For him, a way of keeping his brain active is trying different exercises. So whatever basically works for you, but try something that you have never tried before. And that works, at least in my experience, works the best.
What I wanted to reiterate is the so-called Sudoku puzzles. It definitely helps, but if you are not able to do those things, still it is okay to do something which you do regularly and something from your regular schedule.
Absolutely. अगर रोज आप ऑफिस जा रहे हैं, suppose you are a active person who is at 65, 70, still going to the shop, still going to office, try a different route. If you stop driving, start driving again. Like at 65, 70, your children start telling you, abhi bus driving but kar dijiye, abhi drive mat kijiye, aapke haath hilte hain, aapko dikhta nahi hai. Start doing a little bit of that. And one thing is your independence should be most important to you. And I think it's important to tell the rest of the family also that it's very, very important for the elderly and anybody who's geriatric to be as independent as they can, because they're, you don't have to worry about कि आज खाना खाया कि नहीं, भूल गए तो ऑफिस में फाइल भूल जाएंगे या कबर्ड का चाबी भूल जाएंगे. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't mean that if you're forgetting one thing, you forget the other also.
Yeah. So giving, being independent actually gives wings to you and to fly, actually, is what. So is the food help? Does the food help in getting healthier mind, Bhakti?
Normally, we insist that that if the person is over 65 of age, जो heavy meals है ना खाएं, जो मसालेदार खाना थोड़ा कम खाएं, plant-based diet खाएं, that really helps you. If you can control your body weight and if you can control your ailments, जैसे BP है, diabetes है, a lot of elderly will have a prostate issue. A lot of elderly women will have issue with their bladder control. और ऐसा कुछ है तो अगर आप अपना body, if you are able to keep your body active and healthy, especially with food, your brain definitely responds.
Yeah, Bhakti, take another topic on what exactly schedule-like things. What do you want to put about? Suggest us particular plan जैसा कुछ है तो you do share in the next episode. As we are running out of time, there are a few questions in the chat box. How can we help our elders at times? They don't want to listen and become rigid. Is Shivaniji's question.
It's not that they don't want to listen. Normally, it's not that they don't. They always want to listen to you. But more than listen to you, they want to talk. Okay? So, अगर आप उनको आधा पौना घंटा बात करने के लिए, if you have the time and you take 1 hour every day of your schedule to give to the elderly, आधा पौना घंटा अगर वो बात करेंगे, so they will listen to you for 15 minutes. Like I always say that you have to catch people at a time when they're willing to talk.
So that pretty much answers Shivaniji's question. Ashuji पूछ रहे, when is it mandatory to take tranquilizers?
It's not mandatory to take tranquilizers at all.
Ma'am, these days whenever we go to a doctor with any of our problems, सबसे पहले तो वो कुछ ऐसा ही आपको देंगे, मेडिसिन के एंटी डिप्रेसेंट्स तो देते ही देते हैं ना. तो अभी तक तो हम इग्नोर करते आ रहे हैं, बट कब है कि उसके बिना काम नहीं चलेगा या लेना ही चाहिए?
Antidepressants is अगर आपको we've spoken about this. You will take antidepressants only if you have depression. Okay, it's a clinical term. आपको 6 महीना अगर आपका मूड सैड रहा है और आपको घबराहट होती है, there is a feeling of helplessness and hopelessness, पर आप बैठे रहते हो, आप नहीं भी बैठते हो, that doesn't mean you can be a functional depression person. But you have to be clinically diagnosed as having depression. Only then will you be asked to eat medication for depression, number 1. Number 2, you can refuse. So suppose आप डॉक्टर के पास गए और डॉक्टर ने बोला कि नहीं, आपको थोड़ा जरूरत है थोड़ी डिप्रेशन की, मैं दवाई देता हूँ, आपको डिप्रेशन है. You can say I don't want medication. आप मुझे दूसरा बताइए. Give me an alternate therapy. Okay, and the doctor will send you to a psychologist who will help you with something alternate, or the doctor himself will give you. So you can refuse these medications unless your ailment is such that medication के बगैर आपको help मिल ही नहीं सकती है. then a psychiatrist will prescribe it to you, not your GP. Okay, तो आप मना कर सकते हो.
It's more that psychiatrists will suggest these things. Sorry, psychiatrists will suggest. We are discussing a non-medical, non-clinical way of dealing the mind with the help of a psychologist. So that's the thing, Ashuji. So these are the questions and these are the things, Bhaktiji. Thank you very much from taking out time.
Sorry for today. I don't know what happened to my computer. कल रात तक ठीक चल रहा था, आज सुबह चालू ही नहीं हुआ. So I have to do it from here. But I apologize for being late and I apologize for this inconvenience कि मैं slide नहीं दिखा पाई. But hopefully next time we meet, we can do a better job.
Yeah. So thank you, Bhaktiji. Thank you for pitching in with the tight schedules you are going through. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
सपना लाइव बंद करना. Ashuji, the session is still live. So make आपका आज का prayer या दूसरा कुछ